Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today I'm filming my July wrap-up. So July was actually a pretty good reading month for me, considering I was traveling in the first couple of weeks, so I didn't get too much reading done then. But I actually got a fair amount of books, I'd say, in the last couple of weeks of the month. I read a total of 5 books and 1 graphic novel. And yeah, I'd say it's pretty decent for me. I've been in kind of a reading slump, so I think 6 is a solid number. So the first 2 books were actually rereads for me, and those are Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, I read these while I was traveling. I was actually in Europe earlier this month staying with some family, and my aunt is a big fan of the Harry Potter books, and we were watching some of the movies, and then I just kind of got in the mood to read the books, and she had the books, so I read them while I was there, and they're just as wonderful as I remember, and you can never have too much Harry Potter. So the next book I also started while I was traveling, and that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, I read part of this while I was traveling, and then part of it when I got back, but I didn't finish it until later in July. But yes, I started it earlier and then I finished it later, and that's because this book was actually fairly difficult for me to get through, which is so heartbreaking for me to say because I love Tolkien and I love The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings movies, and I've not read the books. I'm currently reading the Fellowship of the Ring, and I finished this one this month because I told myself I have to read them because I love the movies so much that I have to read them. And yeah, I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I was really disappointed. I mean, I think I would have liked this a lot better if I had read it when I was a kid, because it honestly is a children's story, and it wasn't bad. It was by no means bad. It was just, there wasn't as much going on as there was in the movie, and quite honestly, I preferred the movie to the book. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they added Tauriel's character in there because she is so badass and I love her. She's just wonderful, and she's not in here, and neither is Legolas, and Keely and Feely don't get to say much in here, and it's just, I love the movie. I wish I'd loved the book as much as I love the movie, but unfortunately it didn't live up to my expectations. It was good, but not what I thought it would be. The next book I read this month, or graphic novel I guess, I read this month was Anyas Ghost, and I picked this up actually in the month of July, and I read it right when I got it, and this is actually the first graphic novel I have ever read, and I have to say I absolutely loved it. It was not what I was expecting at all. It was actually quite terrifying, and I made the mistake of reading it at night, but it was really great. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I loved it. The art style is beautiful. It's kind of like all one tone. The author chooses like a purple tone to just go with throughout the entire novel, and it was fantastic. It's so good. If you're not really into creepy, scary things, it's not too bad, but I will just say that it does have some of those aspects to it. But personally, I love creepy, scary types of books and stories. So this was a really great read for me. I really loved this. So the next book I read this month, I have to say, is probably the most exciting read for me, and that's because it is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. I have been reading this series since I was in the 7th grade. And I have currently just graduated high school and about to go into my freshman year of college. Now, that's a really long time, and you're probably wondering, oh, Hannah, this book has been out for over a year, why haven't you picked it up? Well, people, I picked this up right when it came out. I'm fairly certain I pre-ordered this book, because I do have the collector's first edition copy with the super cool dust jacket. With all the fan art, yeah, I really love that. But yes, I picked this book up right when it came out because I was that excited to read it. And then I kind of stopped reading pretty much anything for almost 2 years. So I didn't I didn't touch this. I was so excited for the conclusion to the series because I loved the series so much. But yeah, I put it off until this month. I finally picked it up, and I have to say, I really, really enjoyed it. It was kind of strange reading it again because I had read the last book. I had read the previous book, City of Lost Souls, back when I was, I think, a sophomore. Yeah, a sophomore in high school. And so that was 2 years ago. And when I first started reading this, I kind of forgot how juvenile, I guess you could say, some of the languages and some of the characters are. I honestly completely forgot that Jace is 17 years old and Clary is 16 years old, and that I am now older than them. I have been reading about these characters since I was 12, and now they're younger than me, and that makes no sense. It was interesting seeing them from a completely different point of view, but I did really, really love it. I loved how it ended. I cried several times. It was just an overall really great book, and I'm so happy that I've finally finished this series because it's been so long. But yes, it was great. I gave this, I think, a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but yeah, just great book, great conclusion. Always love my Cassandra Clare. And Cassandra Clare and her epilogues, man, those epilogues kill me. And any mention of Will Herondale, it kills me. And the last book I read this month was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Now, I also started this book earlier in the month and then kind of put it off and then picked it up again towards the end of the month. I finished this the very last day of July, so yesterday, but it was a really, really great book. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Not a 5-star for me, only because it was kind of slow at times, and it took me a little while to read it, but it was still an overall really, really great story. So if you don't know, the premise of this book is pretty much, it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic world where this flu has wiped out about 99% of the world's population. And this story follows a theater troupe that travels up and down, just going through different little towns that are still set up, performing mostly Shakespeare and also performing music. And it kind of just follows them. Then it also follows other characters' storylines. There's an actor who it follows, and one of his wives, and a photographer who was previously a paparazzi. And yeah, it's really good. I understand why it won the National Book Award. In simple terms, it's just a story about humankind and kind of how we survive and what we value, and it's beautiful. It's a really great book. I highly recommend it. It's adult fiction, but yeah, definitely recommend this. It was great. It was really great. So there you go, guys. That was my July wrap-up. Like I said before, I read a total of 5 books plus 1 graphic novel, so 6 books in total. And yeah, so I think I had a pretty good month. So comment down below and let me know what you guys read in the month of July and what your favorite book was that you read this month. My favorite read this month, I'd have to say, was probably City of Heavenly Fire, only because I was highly, highly anticipating this, and I'm really, really happy that I finished it. So yeah, favorite read of the month. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!